The sale of the Planetside IP a month and a half ago left a lot of questions unanswered within the community. What did the future of the game look like? How about the franchise as a whole? And is Planetside going into maintenance mode for the long run as part of a cash grab scheme? All valid questions, and over the past week, we finally got some answers. G'day there once again viewers, your mate Kamikaze78 here, and today, let's talk about Planetside 2's brand new roadmap for 2024, and spoiler alert, it's not what I would call the most exciting one out there. So folks, before we go diving into the video here today, I do just want to say that I have just come back from DreamHack Melbourne 2024. It was an amazing convention, an amazing trip, and a vlog that I'll be releasing very, very shortly here on the channel, but I definitely have done a number on my throat and my vocal cords over the course of the weekend, so if I sound a bit raspy, that's exactly why. But the first thing that I want to get into here is that we've finally got some answers as to how the Planetside franchise is going to be developed and run, at least for the time being. Toadman Interactive, while they are not the purchasers of the franchise, will be taking over as the active development studio for Planetside 2 from Rogue Planet Games, effective immediately. Toadman Interactive is a studio that comprises of 150 people across Stockholm, Sweden, Berlin, Germany, and Novi Sad, Serbia. Toadman is an entity that is located under the EG7 banner, of which hold the interests in Daybreak Games as a publisher. So ultimately, the ownership of the IP has changed, yes, but EG7, who I assume are now taking some degree of orders from this buyer, hold the overall controlling interest still in the active development and publishing mechanics of the Planetside franchise, so nothing in that respect seems to have changed. But obviously, a change in developers is going to theoretically lead to a change in, well, gameplay development and development quality to a certain extent. If you look at Toadman's website, they actually speak to Toadman's central technology group, assisting with enhancing Planetside's visuals and maintaining support for modern hardware for the Planetside 2 project a while ago. If you cast your memories back to the end of 2022 and sort of early 2023, folks, we got the major graphical update for Planetside 2, as well as the integration of NVIDIA DLSS support as well. And given that Toadman Interactive is already sort of showing off that they have done work on the Planetside franchise to this date, I'm starting to believe that these guys are in fact the brains and the brawn behind that particular update, at least as a contractor to Daybreak Games or to Rogue Planet Games, so on and so forth. But as I mentioned before, guys, with a new development team behind the wheel and pushing the game forward, I think it's safe to say that we are expecting to see some changes in priorities and direction for the game overall. The era of Rel and Rogue Planet Games, I'm going to call it, very much lent into adding new content to the game in the form of grand, epic scale additions such as Outfit Wars, Outfit War assets, a new continent, new gameplay, battling areas such as underwater combat, all that fun stuff, right? It's clear that from a design direction standpoint, that's where Rel's focus was as the lead designer. And look, by comparison, when you look at the roadmap and the associated article that Toadman Interactive released, you can tell that their focus very much lies on the core of the game, the moment-to-moment gameplay, the core gameplay loop that aims to keep players coming back over and over again, because as we all know, the most important part of any first-person shooter game and MMO game is the core gameplay, because it'll be the thing that you are interacting with and doing 24/7. Spectacle only gets so far, and it looks like Toadman Interactive kind of understand that with the direction they're going here. With this article they released, there are three primary driving factors or pillars, if you will, that are allegedly influencing the game's next steps. They are as follows: a renewed focus on elements that make Planetside 2 great, rebalance mechanics and content while addressing the current pain points that get in the way, create more objective-based player goals within the core gameplay loop to capitalize better on the breadth of Planetside 2's potential, and number 3, and finally, infuse each major update with more theme, lore, and world building to give more structure and context to the world we inhabit. Now, from a higher level, it all sounds pretty wishy-washy to me, a little corporate even, if you will. It does sound like a lot of corporate speak and something you'd see on a slide deck to, you know, a bunch of investors, if you will. But that's what was published, so that's what we're working with here from a core focus for the rest of the year. And the first 2 points there in particular are very important to me because they speak a lot to rebalancing mechanics and addressing legacy content that doesn't quite work with the things that Planetside 2 is trying to achieve. You know, addressing the current pain points that get in the way, acknowledging the fact that while Planetside 2 has its moments, it's far from a perfect game right now, and all of those pain points are getting in the way of new players sticking around for the long run. That acknowledgement is so damn important, and it does give me a shred of hope that Planetside 2's future may actually be making a turn for the right direction. But as a follow-up, the following screenshot was posted that outlines the roadmap. Now, upon first impressions, I have to say that there is more on here than I was expecting to see as a result of the buyout that happened earlier this year. In fact, I will say this plain and simple, I was not expecting to get a roadmap in the first place. And from a, let's say, quote-unquote word count perspective, it actually looks like there's a good amount of stuff on here. That is until you start taking a very good hard look at what is actually on this roadmap. Now, for January to March, there's talks of the Planetside Legacy Anniversary and the reworks that were made to the Capture the Conduit mechanics. All of that was done at the start of the year, along with some holiday events that we're all used to as well. Stuff that's already happened, so it's not worth drawing our attention to this section too much here, but I will say that upon reflection, and as someone who, surprise, surprise, does still watch the Planetside 2 scene, it feels very lackluster. Anyway, if we look ahead to July and September, we can see the return of the summer, Independence Day, and Labor Day events, as well as the upcoming Sundara rework and the introduction of a brand new assault facility and game mode type. The Sundara rework is something that's been in the works for a long time now, long before the buyout even occurred. But the fact that the new game mode mechanic and supporting facilities coming to the game this late in its development cycle is very interesting to hear. This is obviously going to require map updates and stuff like that, so that's a pretty significant update, all things considered. And then obviously we get to October to December, where we see the annual Araximus and Nanite of the Living Dead events make a return, along with the 12th anniversary update, which is slated to include new vehicles, armor sets, helmets, weapons, so much more. So obviously there is stuff here that speaks to new content coming to the game, which is excellent news, and I am glad that these new developers are continuing to focus on ways to try and improve the core gameplay. In particular, the Sundara changes should go a long way to improving the uptime of spawns, making Sundaras more durable, and by virtue, overall improving fight stability in the game. The new facility type that's coming that apparently is promising hard spawns for attacking factions is also going to go a long way to making fights feel a little bit more stable and potentially really playing into that large-scale combat that Planetside 2 is trying to offer in a good way. That is if they can get the map design right. But again, new developers means new map design processes in theory, so we'll see what they can come up with. So yeah, there's some exciting stuff here, but let's also keep in mind that there are only 3 major gameplay-centric updates that are booked for the rest of the year. And we're in April right now, right? That's not a lot of sustenance coming to Planetside 2 in 2024 at all, especially noting that we've had a very quiet year so far at the start of the year. Now, I understand that there's been a change of personnel, stuff like that, so that's obviously had an impact. But again, this roadmap, while it may look somewhat filled up, is actually not a whole lot, guys. And also set some expectations around the 12-year anniversary update as well, guys. Last year's anniversary update was a real disappointment for the community, where the major announcement that was coming, I believe, was Outfit Wars. And that was it, I think, if memory serves me, as far as the 11th anniversary update was concerned. But correct me if I'm wrong in the comments section down below. On top of that, they are advertising that new weapons are coming in the 12-year anniversary slot as well. That could very well just be reskins to existing weapons. That has occurred before, despite previous advertising outlining it as brand new weapons as well, so we need to be conscious of that. And beyond that, the majority of the updates in this roadmap are timed events that are just reoccurrences of what has happened over many years previously. There's no real substance to those updates, at least in my view. It's just, you know, the obligatory sign-off of a cosmetic sale or a limited time item to appear in the store, stuff like that. Now, I know I sound overly cynical right now, guys, and obviously it's good to see that the game is still getting updates and that there is in fact a development team actually pushing the production forward. However, I do still get the sense that the game is either entering the limitations of what the engine can accomplish, or the capacity of this new development team is heavily limited in nature. While, yes, we do know that they are 150 people strong, that's going to be across multiple projects and multiple, bodies of work. And the roadmap very much reflects that this is definitely not a 150-person development team. We aren't quite in maintenance mode as of yet. It's nice to see that new things are on the way that may actually go a long way to improving the core of the game, but man, to be doing so 12 years after the initial release of the game indicates that this title has had a rough core gameplay direction from the get-go, and whenever this thing changes the hands of a development studio, it appears as though the core gameplay direction shifts immediately. I think that's very reflective of what the community's position is on the game as well. You ask multiple people of the Planetside 2 community and you're going to get a different answer as to what this game should look like and how it should play every single time you do so. And because of that, I feel like Tobin Interactive have entered a situation where they are trying to pick up the pieces of what's been left behind to build a really cohesive experience. Because right now, Planetside 2 definitely still feels like it fails to be cohesive in its gameplay loop. And through that, we'll have to see if Tobin Interactive can salvage what's left with the game and if it continues to get better as it gets updates. But they have got a Herculean task on their hands, so we'll see what happens. But folks, with all of that said, that will wrap up today's video talking about the latest Planetside 2 news and the fact that the game actually got a roadmap in 2024. That is completely wild to me. A lot to unpack in this one, so if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to backhand the like button as it does go a long way to supporting the channel. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing whilst you're at it, guys, to stay up to date with all future video releases. It would be great to have you along for the journey. And as a reminder, we are streaming 3 times a week at least over on twitch.tv/kamikaze78. Come check out the streams, come hang out with the community. It'd be lovely to see you guys there as well. Once again, folks, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Peace out, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Take care, guys. Have a good one.